All right, hello people from the internet. Hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. The time has come to make another non-gameplay video about Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup. These are a bit of a rarity nowadays, but I still have these to make. Um, like I have them pending, and I want to make a video addressing a couple of comments that I've read. And whenever I read them, I say I will reply with a video to your comment. So here we are. Comment number one is, man, I keep trying to make this game work. It feels weird to have the amount of game dev experience I do and analyzing this game to see they've basically made all the wrong decisions to turn what was a game with potential into a dumpster fire, but refusing to give up on it just out of stubbornness. However, as many poor runs as I had, nothing crushed my desire to continue playing this game than trying to get advice on the Discord. Literally, hey, I'm not able to get a win here, even one runs that are basically god runs entirely due to basically walking down a stairs, being instantly surrounded and unable to run. That or entering a room, getting insta paralyzed and killed before I wake up gets answered with various amounts of get good. That doesn't happen, or some canned response that's basically just beginner tips. Pretty much anyone that's played the game longer than a couple of hours already knows. God help you if you try to ask for more than this, because only you're just being pessimistic. Okay, first things first. The thing that made me want to reply with a video to this comment is the part where it says this doesn't happen, because I can tell you for sure that there's something here that you described that straight up cannot happen in the game. Uh, and that would be going down the stairs into being surrounded. Yes, walking down the stairs being instantly surrounded and unable to run. This doesn't happen because you're always able to go upstairs. Unless it's Bolts 5, of course. If it's Bolts 5, you can instantly get trapped by a warden, but even then you still have like one turn to try to go upstairs. It can be extremely rare that you go downstairs and there's a tentacle monstrosity next to you. I don't even know if that can happen. Um, yeah, it probably can happen. Like, I actually don't remember it happening to me ever, or any monster being that close to me other than the bolt guards. So, yeah, straight up cannot happen. Um, what you do if you go downstairs and you are immediately surrounded with monsters that you cannot kill, you go upstairs and you exclude the stairs that you just went through. The levels have 3 stairs for a reason. So, what you're supposed to do in that kind of situation is to move away from the situation and try to make it into a more favorable fight for you to take. I do have to say that unfortunately, because of the nature of Crawl, the early game is full of these kinds of situations, and once or twice it's okay, maybe even exciting and definitely interesting, but if pretty much every floor is a fresh new hell waiting for you with skeletal warriors and scorpions and whatever you can think of that's faster than you or has like ridiculous damage output, or just like has paralyzed and you don't have willpower and that kind of thing. Like, if every floor has something like that, then the game can be pretty annoying to play. This ties into something that I'll talk about in a bit. Um, so yeah, that cannot happen from this comment. Next thing, another situation that you describe: entering a room, getting instantly paralyzed and killed before you wake up. This can happen. Is it common? Not really, because even though you see monsters in the early game that have paralyzed, um, they don't have that good of a chance to do so. It's like 30%. Like, it can happen for sure. Um, but to get paralyzed and die instantly from full HP, that's a very rare occurrence. Like, it happens more often in the late game when you see monsters with crystal spear and stuff, but by the end game, you already have seen everything that the game has to offer, and there's a really good chance that you have found willpower. So you should probably be wearing willpower. Dying to paralysis is a very real risk and a very real reason to equip willpower if you have the possibility to do so. Um, Opening doors randomly can be very dangerous as well, precisely because you're revealing a large amount of tiles in a single action. So yeah, opening doors can be dangerous in this game. Um, when it comes to the Discord and asking for help, and yeah, trying to ask for more than this, suddenly you're just being pessimistic. Mm, I can tell you that Some people in the Discord, I've been lurking the community for many years. First in IRC, then I made the switch to Discord once IRC kind of died. Um, like you can receive answers like that. Like that is a very real thing that I've seen happen. Um, the get good and that doesn't happen. Like that doesn't happen because it straight up cannot happen. Like I already replied to that, but the get good and things like that, canned response that are basically beginner tips, uh, like they are there for a reason. If you're being fed beginner tips, is probably because the community considers you to be a beginner and considers the tips to be helpful for you on your crawl journey. Um, I have to say that Crawl is a game where it's a journey. Like getting your first win might be very difficult. There's a ton of people that took forever to win for the first time. Personally, it took me like 150 something games across like a month. Um, and that was after many games, many hours of NetHack experience. And I remember my first experience going into Crawl and like being like, how come this game is so difficult? Why can't I win this game with all of my NetHack experience? Uh, I vividly remember like some of my first moments with Crawl where I was like taking a fight and I was losing the fight because I was unable to properly assess the danger levels that the monsters posed. Which, by the way, back in the day, it was a much lower danger levels than the monsters pose nowadays. Now the monsters are pretty messed up. But even then, the monsters back then were enough to kill people. And I was like, I would write Elbereth here if I could. I wish Kroll had something like Elbereth. But the reality is that the closest thing to that is the spell Cause Fear, and it's not great. Yeah, it's definitely not as good as Elbereth. Um, but anyway, what I'm trying to say with that is that it is a process, it is a journey about being good. Some people take many years to finally get a win. Some people never do, and some people don't take that long to get a win when it comes to this game. But if you really want to, you just have to play patient, like actually get good. Listen to what the community is trying to tell you. Like if you're being told beginner tips once again, it is for a reason. You may be applying those beginner tips would give you a better result in your game. Um, I would like to do what you want, which is give you more than that. But because of the reduced nature of this comment, I cannot provide you more than that. However, if you reply to this, I will read the comment and I will probably not reply to that with a video, but I will type out my response. I am willing to give you a decent amount of time to try to help you enjoy this game more, because at the end of the day, even though I am not enjoying the game as much as I did in previous years, I still am grateful to the game and the community and the developers because they gave me so much enjoyment, so much entertainment, and they pretty much made me able to build this community that I have right now, that is branching into other roguelikes. So that's comment number one. Okay. No, comment number two is this. Um, Making the only thing that makes the endgame interesting is mechanics like mutation and other unfun silly mechanics is archaic. Defending banned random mechanics and passing them off as good replayability makes me as a game designer very pissed, especially when this game is an example of how you can make replayable roguelike with way less randomness. Okay, so first things first. The mechanics that make the endgame interesting are the fact that there's a large density of monsters that are very dangerous, no matter how godly you feel you are. Anything with torment and damnation, which fiends, tormentors, hellions, uh, and even, well, Hand Sentinels also have damnation, I think. Um, are really dangerous things to every character. And now, like those are universally dangerous. There's also certain monsters that are very dangerous to certain builds and are not really dangerous to certain other builds. Example, Executioner. If you're a Spriggan, you are very scared of an Executioner because you're probably not going to be tanky enough to be able to reliably survive multiple turns of melee. And believe me, there will be multiple turns of melee with an Executioner. Um, However, if you're something extremely tanky, like say 60 or 70 HP, 70 armor class gargoyle, um, an executioner is probably not gonna do a lot to you. And I say probably because, unfortunately, I don't think that crawl has way less randomness. I think the opposite, actually. If you want to see what I consider to be a roguelike with way less randomness, you should check out Rift Wizard. Um, and yes, I've been saying in my Rift Wizard playthroughs, the changes that I would make to Crawl to make it into a game that I would enjoy more would just turn it into Rift Wizard. So at that point, might as well just play Rift Wizard. Why play the game that I'm not liking that much when I can just play the game that already exists, that I already like a lot? And that's what I'm doing, okay? Um, but yeah, so, mutations are overvalued. I think that the existence of mutation makes positioning interesting. However, it can be very annoying how there's some levels, specifically Menelek's level in Pandemonium, that is full of monsters that can mutate you. Like, you're not walking away from that without getting mutated. I guess that's what potions of mutation are for. Uh, Monsters in the Abyss can also mutate you. Like the mutations in the Abyss, I don't like for a different reason than this. Um, because I don't like them because the monster that is responsible for applying temporary mutations to you, which is a Wretched Star, is very tanky, can do so from very long range, doesn't require line of fire, and is usually protected by many other monsters in the abyss. So you cannot kill it fast enough, even if you were fighting it already. It's probably gonna provide you with a ton of bad mutations, and even if you manage to survive it, chances are good that you're just gonna run into another one. In my opinion, they're way too common and they're way too strong for what they are. A couple of versions ago, they got nerfed, and yeah, I think it was in 0.28. You know, the version of the Abyss that gave you 2 potions of experience whenever you picked up the rune. That was amazing. I really, really, really wish that came back. But it's probably never going to happen. And I wish it came back alongside the wretched stars that I've been talking about. I do not like those. I think that Extended had some really exciting things, some really enjoyable things that are, yeah, there to test the player. I unfortunately often don't feel like risking a multi-hour run to just get the excitement of Extended. Uh, Also, I feel like when it comes to Extended, you require a certain level of power that not all characters can achieve. Like sometimes I just have characters that I feel like I can barely do SOT. Not to mention that like maybe there's more experience available to me on the game, but I'm done and I just want to finish the run. I think crawl runs are probably a bit too long, which is crazy because the game has gone from like my first run took me like a day, like actually 24 hours to win, and my last runs have taken me 3 4 hours, sometimes five. But yeah, it's usually along that I'm among that range, yeah. And I still think it's too long. I think that the correct duration is what Rift Wizard offers. Once again, comparisons between Crawl and Rift Wizard. Rift Wizard, once you know exactly what you're doing, and if you go in with a plan, it's not going to take you more than 3 hours. And that's an exaggeration and on a hard run. And all of those 3 hours are full of thinking and enjoyment and excitement. That's why I think Rift Wizard is like actually the pinnacle of roguelike design. Um, I've mentioned it a couple of times on stream. I don't know if I've ever made a video about Rift Wizard and how great it is. I probably should make that in the near future. Um, but yeah, that's just how it is when it comes to Rift Wizard. And when it comes to crawl, I don't think that crawl has way less randomness. I think it has a ton of randomness. Combat is very random. Loot is very random. The enemies that you encounter are very random. the temple generation is very random. Like everything in crawl goes through an absurd amount of RNG. Everything, everything. Like, um, your D1 could have a null, and then you're probably not gonna be able to kill it. Trying to kill it is submitting yourself to an RNG fiesta that you're probably not going to win because a D1 null is often more powerful than an experience level 2 or sometimes even 3 character. If you happen to get to experience level 3 on D1, you're on the lucky side of things because sometimes you don't even get there. You are often going into experience level or into D2 as experience level 2. It's pretty rough. Um, yeah, as I said before, don't think that randomness from the mutations is the thing that ruins extended. I think the thing that ruins extended is the fact that you have to go through a normal run to get to extended, and a normal run, as I already said, can take you 4 or 5 hours. And by the time you have done all of that, you're probably done and you want to start another character. Or at least that's how it was for me. That's why I very rarely do extended runs. Um, yeah, yeah. I think that there's a lot of things to criticize when it comes to crawl, but I don't think that extended things are necessarily terribly made when it comes to crawl. Like something that I would straight up say this is bad and this is an extended is, for example, when hot hells were implemented into the game in 0.28. That change reduced the size of an average level of hell from like by 4. So the levels were 4 times smaller. And there were a couple of bolts that were designed with the idea that levels were not going to be 4 times smaller than they were back in the day. So what happens when you put something like Evil Mike Ambush on such a small level? Well, it turns out that you're going to have to fight literally the entirety of the bolt at the same time with no other alternative. What you used to do when you got a bolt that messed up back in the day is immediately go upstairs, go back down, re-teleport before going into the level with Evil Mike Ambush, and then just get teleported away from that whole mess and like clear it in a reasonable way, which is something that you cannot do now because the levels are so small that no matter where you land on your teleport, you're still gonna be fighting the entirety of the bolt at the same time. That is bad. And that should not be in the game because it's just a relic of a thing that exists that is straight up not compatible with a new change in the game. And that's fine. But remove the thing that is not compatible, right? I think that the reason why, as versions advance, people drop on drop crawl is because of an accumulation of situations like that, where there's new changes in the game and then all things start falling behind and like start being a lot weaker, and you address the developers with like I've done it. Well, I used to do it a lot. Now I don't even bother anymore because I know that it's not gonna get me anywhere. But I remember, like, for example, when, oh man, I cannot remember. It was something about shields, or yeah, pretty much every time that there's a change that increases the power level of the monsters, I'm like, complementary buffs for the players were, and there's some. I'm not gonna say that there has never been a complementary buff for the player. No, like the initial starting loot got buffed a bit. In my opinion, it's not enough. I wish that every character had a potion of haste, or a scroll of blinking in their inventory from turn 0. Just like in Rift Wizard, it gives you a teleporter and a portal disruptor from turn 0. But then again, we're just going back to the thing that I said earlier, where I said that changes that I would like to see on Crawl would just turn Crawl into Rift Wizard, and I might as well just play Rift Wizard. Yeah, we go back to that. So yeah, there's that. Um, you don't have to play Extended if you don't like what you see in Extended. I understand that the mutation complaint applies to SOT, but I think that In the case of SOT and in the case of the Orbs of Fire, it is an incentive for you to not do extended. Um, so if you go there, you get heavily malmutated, it might make it very difficult to finish the level, to finish SOT 5 and to escape. I know because I've had some runs that have been killed directly because of getting a normal fire bath mutation or another similar bath mutation, and it does feel bad, but it is also not as common as you would think. It's happened to me a couple of times in more than 300 wins. I have more than 300 wins, and I only remember off the top of my head the one in a tournament where I was doing Lord of Darkness 3, and I got like Bloody Vision or Minus Potion. It was something like that, and I was unable to save myself. Um, yeah, yeah, like I did lose a Lord of Darkness 3 run to a bad mutation, but I don't think it was from a Fire. I think it was in the Abyss or something. But anyway, yeah, even with that experience, like I have to say that losing a Lord of Darkness 3 run that far is a pretty bad experience. Even with that, I still think that mutations are kind of okay because more often than not, there's a lot of playing around them that you can do. In the Lord of Darkness 3 run, that's like a special exception because you see so little of the game that you're gonna lack some resources. So mistakes are a lot more punishing. And I do think that me getting malmutated was a serious mistake that I could have avoided if I had played better. But at that point, I was like, oh, I already got past the hard part of the challenge, which is getting the runes from Pan without entering Lair or Bolt or Orc. It's better. It's a very difficult challenge. That's a reason why I haven't done it in a couple of years, a couple of tournaments. Um, yeah, even with that, I still think that that mutations are okay. Mm, sorry for repeating myself so much. I do these unscripted and I just like let the train of thought flow, which is the same thing that I do in my streams, and people seem to like it. So yeah, do it on YouTube. And people on YouTube also seem to like it. So I appreciate you all for liking my videos. That is my reply to these comments that I needed to do, or I felt like I wanted to do. So let's get that out of the way. Now, let me talk to you about Crawl, about my future with Crawl. I'm not going to tell you that there is no future with me and Crawl, but I am going to tell you that I am not going to play Crawl unless I feel like I want to play Crawl. I keep saying maybe in May, and maybe in May is a good assessment. Yeah, because right now I feel absolutely zero desire to play Crawl. My experience with the Meteoran of Beog was not good. I found some game breaking bugs, like game breaking for me in the sense that because of those bugs I wasn't able to win the game. Um, yeah, I got penance from reflecting a projectile, and Belg gave me a boss fight, an apostle fight, during penance. So I was unable to get the apostle, and that was literally the last apostle that I got in the whole game. So I went into SOD with some weak apostles. It is very clear that Beog is not designed in such a way that it cares about you being a Meteoran that doesn't really get a lot of experience. Like it would have been nice to win it, but I was just not powerful enough, and I was also pretty sick at that point. You can clearly tell by the last like hour or so of the run. Like I just wanted to get it over with. Ideally on a win, but I think I got pretty close because I did grab the orb. As a comment said in that video, I was one scroll blinking away from winning that game, most likely. But yeah, that's just how it is sometimes. I don't mind, and I am doing what I can do to remediate my situation, which is not play Crawl, because the game that I want to play is not Crawl. The game that I want to play is Rift Wizard, and I have been playing Rift Wizard, and I will continue to play Rift Wizard, and I will play Rift Wizard 2 when it releases, and I will like it a lot. I hope, yeah. But here's the thing, and this is something that I said in one of my Rift Wizard videos. Um, Dylan, the developer of Rift Wizard, is a pretty smart person, and usually smart people do not alienate their existing player bases by drastically altering gameplay. And making them not want to continue playing their game. And because of that, I think that Rift Wizard 2 will be a good game. I would like to believe that it will be a good game. It's okay, like I just have to be patient for a bit more. Like it's about to release, so I'm not in a rush. Um, I can wait as much as I need to wait to get my hands on the game and enjoy it as much as I will enjoy it. Yeah, the release of Rift Wizard 2 is yet another factor in my um, feelings towards crawl nowadays. Like, why would I want to play crawl? Which, as I have said multiple times in this video already, if I wanted to, if I could turn crawl into a game that I would enjoy more, I would turn it into Rift Wizard. And why would I turn a game into another game that already exists when I can just go play the game that already exists, right? Yeah, we keep coming back to that. Um, so yeah, that is pretty much the status of Crawl right now. I'll play it when I feel like playing it, which I don't feel like it's gonna happen anytime soon. Um, yeah. Like I know that there's a lot of things to try on Crawl. I know that there's the Jeredelen Null rework and the Beok rework with a character that's actually well suited for Beok instead of a Meteoran. Uh, and there's Coglins and stuff like that. But like, really, I don't care. I do not enjoy the process of grinding through characters to finally get one that does well, enjoyable. I never really did. It was a lot easier back in the day, a couple of versions ago, where I could reliably stream 5 days a week and get 5 wins in the same week. Those were the days. Yeah, those were the days where I enjoyed crawl the most and where I enjoyed playing crawl on stream the most. Yeah, similar things, but not exactly the same. Because I still enjoy streaming. As I said in my videos about the future of the channel 1 and 2, I enjoy streaming and I want to continue doing that, but I don't think I can continue streaming crawl consistently the ways that I have been doing in the last couple of years. Um, but yeah, I still sometimes recommend people crawl. It doesn't happen very often because it's very difficult to find someone that I could recommend a roguelike to. In the years where I was very passionate about crawl, I did recommend it actively to pretty much everyone, and not a single person that I recommended the game to in all of those years, like it was probably more than a decade, um, stuck with the game. Some tried it, but they didn't get very far. And of course, they didn't want to dedicate the amount of time that one needs to dedicate to win a roguelike. Um, I always say when it comes to roguelikes that you win roguelikes when you deserve to win roguelikes. This is the nice way to do it, and the foul way to do it is what roguelike inspired games do, which grab that I just talked about and turn it into a perversion. It They turn it into, oh, you're not gonna win unless you die enough and do enough meta progression and artificially increase your power level in the game so that you can finally beat the game. Which, in my opinion, sucks. I think that is a true failure of game design. I don't think the things that Crawl does are that much of a failure of game design compared to what roguelike inspired games do. I hate meta progression. I hate unlocks that drastically alter the gameplay. And I hate that it feels when it comes to those games that they're made in such a way that you cannot win your first run. Um, I know for a fact that some games you can't win your first run. Hades, you can't win your first run. You literally are forced to die in the first floor in Hades, which is insulting. Hades also has um, a big meta progression system. That's part of the reason why I didn't like it. I also didn't like the gameplay. It helped a lot that I didn't like the gameplay to make me stop playing. But the meta progression certainly didn't help things as well. Um, Yeah, yeah. These are thoughts about things in general. I don't even know if I should upload this to YouTube. Yeah. Thank you for liking my videos, I suppose. I appreciate it very thoroughly. And thank you to my supporters on Patreon: Anthony, Dulo, Inon, Grafophilia, Fede, Frog, Shaper, Merlin, Alistair, Neil, Mikhailo, Scott, Plotny, Blink and Die, Luis, and Kent. Um, you guys have kept me alive, literally. Like, it's not an exaggeration to say that. And I am very grateful for your continued donations. Um, I would like to hear specifically what Neil has to say about this video, because Neil is a crawl developer, not particularly active, but I would like to see what Neil has to say about the commentary on crawl that I have provided in this video. Um, yeah, do not feel like you have to continue supporting me on Patreon if you only like the channel for crawl. Um, Yes, I said that a couple of months ago with the first on the future of the channel video, but like I would like to remind you. And on the other hand, if you feel like what I am doing and what I will continue to do, which is Rift Wizard and other roguelikes, and sometimes crawl, is good enough for you, do consider joining the Patreon. I'm not gonna tell you that there's gonna be like bonuses or exclusives. There's one video that I made that I didn't put on YouTube because I felt like it was best gate kept a bit. Um, and if you join the Patreon, you might be interested in watching that video. Yeah, I remember that video, and I feel like it is a very telling omen of the future of the channel. Like, in retrospective, of course. Um, what else can I tell you? I don't have any bonuses or anything like that because I did used to have them, but no one ever redeemed them. If you feel like you want to ask me for something or anything, if you think that there's like a video that you would like to see me make when it comes to crawl or when it comes to roguelikes in general, if you want me to talk about a specific topic, give me a DM or something like that. Like, contact me, you know how to do so. And I am probably going to do it, especially for some of the people that contribute the most in Patreon, such as Luis, Grafophilia, and Neil. Yep. And also Mara. And of course, we cannot forget about Dan Brani. Yeah, Dan Brani always jumps into the stream, doesn't support me on Patreon, but very consistently Dan Brani jumps into the stream and drops $25. That really helps a lot as well. Me and my mom appreciate your continued contributions to the cause that is keeping us alive and well fed. So yeah, thank you so much for that, everyone.